Hello yogis! It's time for the movement review for Downward Dogape. Hopefully you get the play on words there. For Downward Dogape we have 4 different poses, so let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to go ahead and start off with the first pose, which is bent leg downward dog. Begin by spreading your fingers as wide as you can, pointer finger facing forward. You want to make sure you're driving through that entire hand, not just the wrists. And you'll be balancing on the balls of the feet and keep those knees bent as much as possible so you can focus on your spine and your shoulders. You're bringing that chest through all the way through, biceps behind the ears, keeping the head nice and neutral, and you're driving down through the lats to get a nice deep stretch. The next pose we have is cow pose. So reposition those hands under the shoulders, and from here, you're gonna go ahead and extend through that spine, looking up to the sky. And it also helps if you imagine you're driving your knees away from your hands and your hands away from your knees. It's gonna give you a nice fulcrum, give you force to drive that anterior body into a stretch that you'll feel from the pelvis all the way up through the neck into the jaw. And you'll feel all of the back muscles working together harmoniously to allow that position to happen. Then the next pose we have is cat pose, the counterpart to cow pose. So from here, you're just going to go in the opposite direction. So you're going to tuck that tailbone in as much as you can and drive the crown of your head down towards the earth. And you'll feel your back muscles getting a nice even stretch all the way through your lumbar, thoracic, and cervical spine. And you get a nice anterior core workout. So you're contracting all the muscles on the front of the body. And the final pose we have is child's pose. For child's pose, you're just going to go ahead and sink back with those hips. You can go ahead and walk those fingers forward to get a little bit of traction on the spine. And from there, just take deep, rhythmic breaths and allow your body to sink deeper and deeper on every exhalation. The earth will support your weight, I promise you, so you can just fully surrender and let go. Very nice. So let's go ahead and review a few more cues for these 4 poses that we're covering. Back to that bent leg downward dog again. Now what we're trying to focus on is the spine and the shoulders. So really, if you feel any stretch in the legs, just bend those knees a little bit more and allow that spine to take on most of your focus and attention. And gradually you can work on extending those knees as your flexibility allows. But again, our focus is mainly on getting that spine and extension and flexion through the arms, which will help you feel more in the lats and chest and less burn on the shoulders. Now for cow pose, it really does help to have a strong, solid base. So make sure you feel an even balance between your arms and your legs. And from there, you've got a nice fulcrum. You can even drive the hands back towards the knees and the knees towards the hands and drive your spine into that nice tractioned extension, looking up and feeling a nice, deep, even stretch. Wherever you're the most tight is probably where you're gonna feel the most stretch. Now for cat pose, you want to still keep that strong grounding through the hands and through the legs. And from there, again, you're driving those legs and hands towards each other to create a nice round curvature of your entire back. The lumbar, the thoracic, and cervical spine getting a nice even stretch. And you get a nice anterior core workout in the process. And finally, for child's pose, visualization goes a very long way, so just imagine just how large and enormous the planet is that you are grounding through. And what wonderful news that is for us, because just like batteries have battery cells that need to be recharged after use, we are bioelectrical beings, and as such, we also need to recharge, revitalize, and restore our energy system. And the child's pose is a wonderful way to achieve this. Taking in those deep, relaxed breaths, feel that energy traveling through your fingertips all the way down to your toes. Wonderful. Downward Dogape is all about checking in, taking time to honor our body, our mind, and our connection to spirit. Thank you for tuning in for the movement review. We're going to go ahead and see you on the other side for the WOD briefing and strategy. Namaste.
Hello yogis, this is Dave from Radiance. It's time for the WOD briefing and strategy. Today's workout is Downward Dogape. Downward Dogape is a yoga flow that will open up your back, neck, and shoulder mobility while simultaneously aligning your mind-body connection. We're looking at a 10-round flow of yoga poses that will challenge your essence and enliven your spirit. We'll be meditating on each pose for 20 seconds, then move into a slow burn 10-second transition into the next pose. One round will look like this: 20 seconds of bent leg downward dog, 10 seconds transitioning slowly into 20 seconds of cow pose, 10 seconds transitioning slowly into 20 seconds of cat pose, 10 seconds transitioning slowly into 20 seconds of child pose, for a total of 2 minutes per round. On the 10th round, we'll stay in child's pose for 2 additional minutes for a total of 22 minutes. Tips for Enlightenment. The main focus here is to open up the chest, ribs, and shoulder mobility, which will aid in better breathing function as well as relieve compression of the spine and neck. Therefore, keep the knees bent on the downward dog and place your attention on lengthening through the spine and stretching the arms overhead and behind the ears. The goal is to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system by interfacing with the vagus nerve, which regulates healing and recovery in the mind, body, spirit. Begin with less range of motion and gradually, patiently, work on increasing that range of motion with care and open focus. That's the WOD briefing and strategy. Light and wellness to you, my fellow yogis. Namaste.